Welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Gap. I'm C. This is Brandon. We're going to talk and discuss the Will and Jada situation. It's been talked about a lot, but we may come from a different perspective. So I think I want to start with just the facts of this situation. Before we get into opinions and theories,
Right.
the facts are they were at the Oscars. Chris made a joke, and Jada did not like the joke. Mm-hmm. Will laughed at the joke until he saw Jada's face. Will walks up on stage and he slaps Chris Rock, goes back to his seat, and starts cursing at Chris to keep his wife's name out your mouth. And, Chris said, "I will." And that was it. And Chris moved on and the show continued. And later on, so at break, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, and maybe a couple other people came up and counseled Will, talked to him, and he ended up winning a Oscar for the Venus and Serena movie. And in his speech, you know what? I don't want to go there yet. So let's just talk about that transpired right then and there. And that's it. You wanna dive in?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that you can't really tell somebody how to react, right? Well, I should say you can't really tell somebody how to feel. Now, if he felt that Chris Rock disrespected his wife, then he's entitled to feel that way, mm-hmm. and she's entitled to feel like she got disrespected. Mm-hmm. Now, the way we could both agree the way he went about it is probably wrong. Going up and smacking another man mm-hmm. that has kids, mm-hmm. right in front of national television. But that sort of thing got to be handled closed doors if you really feel some type of way. And I think I was watching The Breakfast Club, and they were saying, I think their, beef or disagreement, whatever they had, stemmed back from around 5 years ago, when I think Will and Jada was trying to get Chris Rock to protest the Oscars, but he wouldn't.
Yeah, he was. The Oscars So White movement, but mm-hmm. We should boycott.
Right.
Chris was like, "I'm hosting it." So
right.
all right, there are no black people, but they asked me to host it. So we got to, in his mind, maybe take an opportunity.
Right.
But
I just feel like this is a perfect example, because so many people envied or wanted their type of relationship, and now you just to see how toxic it is. The way he was cursing at Chris Rock, you could just tell it's a lot of darkness inside of him, mm-hmm. and it's a lot of darkness in that marriage, open relationship, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. He was wrong. Mm-hmm. I saw that he got banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
Yeah. He don't care about that. Please.
No. I do give a lot of props to Rock, though, because 100%. The way he kept his composure. Any other 9 times out of 10, you do that to somebody else, they probably fighting on stage.
Yep.
And easily. How that's going to make us look.
Exactly.
Right. So
mm-hmm.
I give him all the credit in the world, even telling jokes after that. And you can kind of tell he was kind of slummed up a little bit after that.
Yeah.
But
yep.
he did good carrying on with the show. But mm-hmm. yeah, all props to him. But
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's funny, all this. I think this situation really, even at my age, taught me something that I don't really feel the need to argue with people anymore. I think this showed me your perspective can be so different than mine. We can see the same exact thing, mm-hmm. but our perspectives will be so different because of the type of person you are. And your experiences kind of make up who you are and what type of morals or, values that you have.
Right.
And I've had a lot of discussions with people. And it's funny, like, the older cats agree with me, but the younger generation doesn't get what I was saying. So there's certain stuff that I had to stress to them.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, before anybody takes sides, we got to stop this BS. It was no disrespect. He made a joke. Like, I understand it's comedy. And all he said was, I love you, Jada. Can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was a funny joke. Now, it's not funny to you, number one, if you don't know the movie G.I. Jane.
Right.
It's a movie, Demi Moore. She went to the military. She shaved her head. She went through all this BS and training and became a soldier. So why you think an attractive woman that was strong is an insult, because you're saying because she's bald, right? That's not... If you want to take it that way, you take it that way. But number one, it's comedy. There's no malice in what he said. That's why it's extreme, and that's why I have a problem. Because it was not disrespectful, and if you watch it, he was going around the room. It's not like he singled her out. So you're above anybody making jokes about you. I don't care if y'all had beef or whatever. It was a joke. It wasn't malicious. So it was no disrespect in my eyes, right? And Will's... I'm sorry, Will laughed. So he should have slapped himself first. Because if it was such a disrespectful thing, why were you laughing? Then you looked at her, and now you want to get all big and bad, right? And I'm just going to say, how a husband should react if his wife is actually disrespected is, I can understand you doing things, right? But at the same time, you are at an award show. You're not on a block. You're Will Smith.
Right.
You're one of the biggest actors in the world. And for you to act like an N-word, and that's what you really were at that moment. And Chris Rock proved that he was that black person. He was the excellence that night. Because he could have said something, and when Will was berating him, going back and forth, he's like, I am. And he said, I could, and he stopped himself. That's a man. He showed restraint. And I respect Chris Rock for that. And what's crazy is no one's talking about Chris Rock.
Right.
It's all Will Smith. No one ever appreciates the man in these type of situations, but they always want to glorify the N-word experience, right? I don't get it, but I understand, and I'm not going to argue with that type of stuff anymore. And another aspect of, if she was a wife, she would have stopped him. No wife would let her man go do that. A wife would have, whoa, not here. Even though she might have felt some type of way, not here. This ain't the time or the place. Let me stop you here.
She probably didn't even know.
She didn't care. She laughed when he did it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know about that part.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not... A wife is going to stop somebody... all right, look, if I get married, I will hope and pray that my wife is a balance for me. So in case I do get out of character or snap, that she is my peace.
Right. And
she says no and stops me. And this is a message to young brothers out there. Don't let women get you in situations. A woman is going to try to stop you from getting in a situation like that. Oh, somebody disrespected me or whatever. You need to understand what disrespect really is. Sometimes words are just words. There are a lot of people in jail and dead trying to defend someone's honor that may not be worthy of having their honor defended. That's real out there. There's a lot of people dead, a lot of people in jail. That's real. Then you're 6 feet under, or you're in jail, and guess what? They done moved on to another dude because of your ego or whatever.
Pride.
Exactly. So then what really, another aspect that annoys me is So after he went up to get his an award, he said, Denzel talked to me. And he said, he warned me. He said, at your highest peak, that's when the devil comes for you. And he said, I just want to be a vessel of love. And in that moment, he still did not apologize to Chris Rock. That's what I have a problem. Even, this is my thing, even if you're mad at him, you could have said, I'm sorry for doing that here at this place. I didn't like what you said, but I shouldn't have reacted that way. As a man, I don't respect that. Because my whole thing is everyone falls, right? Mm-hmm. It's how you act afterwards. Because you had enough time to relax. You had enough people in your ear, and you still were riding that BS. And you're supposed to be this vessel of love. You can't say you're a vessel of love and you don't try to make amends for something. And his apology came like the next evening or something, and it was just PR BS.
Right, I was about to say that. Like that's why he didn't apologize, because he wasn't sorry.
Right.
Probably still isn't.
Exactly. And to me, that just made him look weak in my eyes. I'm sorry, because, all right, I don't condone violence, but I'm old school mentality. If I felt as though somebody did something that would warrant a reaction from me, it would happen backstage where no one could see it. I'd have broke Chris's jaw, right? But nobody would have known. And guess what? Chris never would have mentioned my wife again. And everybody was like, what happened to him? I don't know. But what he did was open himself up to be ridiculed by the entire world now. Where you thought you were being like, that's not a man. That's not how a man moves. Mm-hmm. And it's just evident by, look at the reaction now. Now you look like a clown. And it's sad because of who you are and what you were promoting, but I always say it's not what people say, it's what people do. And you showed me who you were in that moment. And I just didn't really respect that. So it's hard because, I was a fan. But, I mean, given your situation and your wife, and I'm going to stress this to everyone out there, vet who you're going to marry. You need to know who that person is. I had this theory before I got more information on it. I think Will's a good dude, but I think he's trying to be something he's not. Then I was watching some podcast and they were talking about the book that he wrote, where basically she kind of talked him into the open marriage situation. But he wanted to have her so bad that he compromised who he was. And you're just going to get lost like that. And that's and this is the end result. You can have all the money, but what's it worth if you lose your soul? You're not happy. So you blow up. You weren't really blown up at Chris. You were just blown up at everybody. Because you held yourself to a certain standard, but she doesn't. And there was this that video I showed you before we started recording, where she has the camera in Will's face. It just started circulating, and you can see like she just doesn't respect him, and she's basically using him, and it's sad because it's just sad because I know, or I feel as though he is a good person, but at the same time, you made those decisions, so I can't really feel that bad for you. Mm-hmm. And that's what it comes to. So, and what's really, it's just a black eye. So we just saw two black people have a moment on worldwide television. It's, I don't know. Then it goes to that whole concept of, well, that's just what they do. So certain people,
black people,
yeah, and some people view like, well, why do we care that much? No matter what you want to say, Will was looked at a certain way in our community. Definitely, like Will was supposed to be, for lack of better, the best of us, right? He was supposed to be a good guy, and that's what he did. He snapped, and it's just a black eye. No matter what, it's a black eye. If you feel as though he was being a man, then cool, that's your thought. But keep this in mind, that overshadowed the fact that he actually won an Oscar for Best Actor, it overshadowed that Samuel L. Jackson finally got an Oscar. No one's talking about that. Philly's own Questlove won an Oscar for his documentary. No one's talking about that. Shaq and Steph Curry won an Oscar for their short documentary. No one's talking about that. What are they talking about? Ignorance. So instead of promoting excellence, we're talking about ignorant situations. So also at the same time, I said this before, I want young men out there to understand you have to be in control of your emotions. What Will did will get you fired and put in jail. He committed a felony. The only reason why he's not in jail is because he's Will Smith. Anybody else, you're going to jail. Don't think, oh, I can lose my cool and still. No. Judges don't want to hear that crap. When you're broke, that's not an excuse for you. Be smart. I understand, things happen in the heat of the moment, but unfortunately, as a black male out here, we don't have that luxury that Will Smith has. So be smart with your life, because you're not going to have the same result as Will. And I want to stress this. Be careful who you deal with. Be careful who you date, and be careful who you want to marry. Make sure they are on the same plane as you, or it's going to be a long, miserable life. It's funny. I had picked my son up, and they talked about Will Smith being banned from the Oscar for 10 years. So I was like, did you hear about that? He's like, no, what happened? So I told him a story, and he just said, yo, she just sounds evil. And it's crazy. Like, I didn't put those words. I was just like listening to him. He's like, she just sounds evil. And why would he try to defend someone who has no honor? Like, she doesn't sound like she's a good person. Why is he trying to defend her? Why didn't he leave her? And it's weird, because I think as adults, we complicate things. And I'm just listening to a pure mind or innocent, naive mind. I'm like, man, you're right. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what it is. It's pure and simple. But as we get older, emotions and things, they complicate us. But as crazy as it's black and white sometimes. And we just make it more than what it is. But I hope, because I think the last thing I read was he checked himself into some type of rehab. I don't know if that's true or not, but
rehab for
stress.
Okay.
Oh, let me say this too. Where I think he messed up. Well, that whole red table talk where you sat down and basically been okay with your wife cheating and you sitting there holding back tears, whatever. Talking about what are they, bad marriage for life? Like, dude.
Yeah, I mean that whole thing is like an embarrassment.
It's
honestly.
Evil.
Like,
and by definition, I don't believe in an open marriage. By definition, a marriage is between two people. So open, no. But I think where he messed up in that is he told her, there's nothing you can do to make me leave you. Now, I don't condone divorce, right? But there needs to be a healthy fear that there's a line that you don't cross. So if you tell somebody there's nothing you can do that make me leave you, yo, you screwed yourself.
Especially like if they don't fear God. Like you tell a typical sinner that, oh, all right, like I'm gonna basically take this as far as I can. You're not gonna leave me anyway. So,
right,
all right, that's talking about this open marriage. Yep. Yeah, I was with August Alsina. Now what?
Yeah, right.
You want me to let out more skeleton? Like, so it's like how far you just basically gave her the green light to keep disrespecting you even more. And as a man, like I said, he's filled with a whole lot of darkness inside.
Yes, he is. And nobody wants to admit that.
Yeah, and as much as like people is ridiculing him, as he deserves, it's like you also got to pray for him too. Because I kind of feel bad on that aspect. It's like it's probably one of those situations where they met at a point in time in their life when they was probably up on the same path or whatever, and maybe as time went on, they had different viewpoints. But you could just tell she's very like, manipulative.
Okay, they were talking about her Will Smith's book, and basically she didn't want to get married. She like walking down the aisle crying to herself, and gave a situation of she was going to turn 40 years old, so Will planned 3 years for a birthday party for her.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
and she was upset about the party. Said, "Well, I'm just going to do stuff myself now on my own." Who would say something like that? If someone put like a year's worth of planning into you, even if I didn't like everything, I'm just going to be ecstatic that you put that effort in. That shows what type of person you are.
Yeah, well, going back to the whole wedding thing, right? I got a question about it.
Right.
So it's like, if she was crying, I hope, well, I would assume that they didn't sign the marriage certificate beforehand, because if she doing all that, I would have called the whole thing off.
Not Will, though. Will's
I guess
on
it was a
thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Will's on a different thing, man. He's got to make it work no matter what. Like, I don't know, and I don't even know what type of ceremony or what type of marriage it really is. Because I don't know what they're into. Yeah, like, I don't know how far left they are, so I can't even speak to that anymore.
And then going back to what you were saying, like that whole we don't believe in open marriage and stuff, like how we was brought up and raised, like neither do we, like from a spiritual standpoint, like, and neither does God.
No.
And a lot of people need to understand, like, all that stuff, that the open marriages and all that garbage is all things of the flesh and all like carnal minded.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all quote unquote man's poor wisdom when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you may agree or not agree with us, but I'm good on this. I'm good on this subject matter, man. So if y'all agree, you can leave a comment. If you disagree, think we crazy, leave a comment, and it don't matter. Everybody's opinion matters.
People gonna think we crazy.
I'm okay.
A lot of people too, like going back to the open marriages, a lot of people think that you can marry or have more than one wife.
This is funny, and I'll point to, regardless, I want you to look up the word adulteress. Or adultery.
Yeah.
No. I don't care. Look up the word adultery.
It's the word of the week.
Yeah. Now, after you look that up, then you can come back to me and talk about open marriage.
Wouldn't be a word for a reason, right?
Right. Like, I don't know how you justify just everybody because that's the wave now, because everybody's doing it open. That don't make it right. Yeah,
I mean, and all this stuff is prophesized anyway, how it's going to be a great falling away from the church and stuff like this. What God put as a gift here for us will, be taken in an evil state, so.
And we are here. Mm-hmm. We are here when open marriages are celebrated, and leave them alone. That's their thing. Okay. And right, you got people promoting it, like, promoting that type of lifestyle. Like, that's what's up. Oh, okay.
Do y'all thing,
Yeah, no, to each his own. To each his own, but keep it over there.
We ain't judging nobody.
Yeah. That ain't for me.
Right.
Y'all got to deal with that judgment on another land, so I don't really, enjoy your life, man.
Right.